the last edition of CURAE, which is a masterclass on curatorial practice led by Erik Kessels. In these months, the participants worked on their projects and also on the curatorial choices that are part of their works and of their and you will see also this in their presentations. So yeah, as usual, I don't want to take too long, and I leave the stage to Erik Kessels, who is here as well, and then we can start with the presentations.
Yeah, thank you, Rosa, and also thank you for all these months doing the hosting with everyone and solving problems for everyone. So that was very good. Yeah, I'm very proud this afternoon to present. Or at least I'm not presenting, but participants are presenting. But yeah, I'm very proud in the steps that the participants have made over the last month. And yeah, this program is several months and many months, but it is very good to see what kind of steps everyone made, and especially in how they tell the story of their project, how they develop this into either an exhibition with the curation of this, and either into a book or. But at the end, it's very special to see that all these different participants have really, their work is really a combination and a perfect merge with their own voice and their own style. And it's completely different works that you're going to see. And yeah, congratulations everyone for yeah, finishing in this time. And yeah, good luck for everyone presenting it, and enjoy the presentations.
Thank you very much, Erik. So yeah, let's start. We have now Marina Shtanko. Marina?
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Yeah. Hi again. My name is Marina Shtanko. I'm a Ukrainian visual artist. First of all, thank you all for being a part of this masterclass, and thank you to Erik, to Rosa, to the whole PhMuseum for the organization and for constant feedback. And I'm glad I was a part of this for the past several months. And a few words about me. I'm a Ukrainian visual artist and photographer, currently based in the north of Germany. And I moved to Germany in the very beginning of the Russian full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. And not only my place of residence has changed, but also my practice. And since then, I've been working mainly with the topics like war and conflict, displacement, and the sense of belonging, and the search for balance and some kind of rituals in this chaotic world. And for the project in the masterclass, I decided to choose the topic that has been interesting me for a while, and it's soil. I see this as a very multi-layered topic, and here is why. Actually, I decided to divide it into several layers, so several like sections, and the first one is this historical and agricultural part. Ukraine is an agricultural country, and working in the fields and in the gardens has been always an important part of Ukrainians' lives. And I wanted to show this connection and find the photos in the family archives, not only mine, but like collective family archive, show the photos that where we see people that are working in the fields or in the gardens. At the same time, another inspiration was the film by a Ukrainian film director and writer, Alexander Dovzhenko, and his film Earth from 1930, which tells the story of the collectivization in Ukraine, in the USSR. So I thought it would be like a different perspective, like a collective perspective and the personal perspective. And then I wanted also try out to like connect these two different layers or like perspectives, the film stills and the family photo archives. Another layer was the emotional layer. Some time ago, I noticed that when I work with the soil, when I even just repot the plants at home or do something in the garden, it kind of calms me down and brings some peace and maybe some kind of like a meditative action. So I wanted to do these several videos that would show this action. And for that purpose, I also went to my parents' place. They live in Poltava region in Ukraine, and they have their own garden. So I went there and did like this kind of performative videos. Another part of this emotional layer is that there are different techniques, like grounding techniques. When people have, for example, a panic attack, they are advised to lie down on the floor, not specifically soil, but like there is this still connection with the surface. And I think that when you lie down on the soil, there is even more, I don't know, power from it. And I also did the photos there in the place, which brings me some peace, like personally to me. And there is another layer, ecological layer, which I think there might be even more approaches. And one of them is that like ecological layer basically is that I want to talk about how the war influences now the state of the soil and of the fields in Ukraine. In the beginning of the war, the export from Ukraine was almost stopped, like the export, for example, from the sunflower oil, and some countries really struggled with it. So I wanted to show that with the satellite photos. And you see here, there are these huge bomb bins in the fields. And to somehow underline or like highlight this or like make it more visible, I decided to physically cut out or like burn out these holes. And yeah, I like to underline this effect, this negative effect of the war. And for the exhibition, I also have several directions. And I think I would like to divide the project into several rooms, or like maybe at least somehow like divided the space into different sections. And the first one, this historical part, I was thinking about putting the family photos on this vertical stands, maybe also cover the floor with the soil, and to have this feeling that you are just walking through the space and you see all these people working there in the fields to make this, work in the gardens even more like every day or something very normal, which it is. Or another option for the same section would be to use the collages and to put them like to connect each one with another to have this constant line and to again highlight this connection. For the emotional layer, I would like to project the videos on the floor. Maybe one of them could be on the wall or on the floor, because when we're talking about the soil, it's kind of also like logical that it is shown on the floor. And I would also like to bring the soil from Ukraine and to put it in the middle of the room so that people actually have the possibility to touch it and to recreate the action that I'm showing in the video. For the ecological part, I would like to place the images on the floor and somehow like add some kind of a device that would produce the smoke, and the smoke would then come out from the holes to again like make it even more tangible and visible. Yeah, thank you very much for your attention. I really hope to somehow someday be able to show and to present the project and to realize the project in an exhibition. And I've been looking already for some variants and options for it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Maryna. Just one question. Yeah, for you, you told already that you want to show this somewhere, but what would be the next step for you to achieve this? You going to show this presentation around, or where would be the idea to go to now?
Yeah, that's a good question and a difficult one. And I think that to realize this project, especially the last part, like the ecological part, and also like the first one, I mean, I would probably need some financing for it. So I think that I would be maybe looking for some grants or some, exhibition proposal, open calls, something like that, where it could be also maybe partially financed.
Yeah, because I think that this presentation will help very much with that. I mean, it's very complete work in a way, how you outlined it. That's very nice. Maybe someone else has a question?
No, I don't have a question, but I just wanted to say to Maryna that I think that the solution you found, I mean, your exhibition proposal are adding a lot of value to the work itself. Because when you see the work like in Judy, like in the presentation, when you see the rendering of your ideas about the exhibition, it gets more powerful. I think it, and I didn't see it before, so I think it's working very well, and you did a great job with this, and also the idea of bringing the soil from Ukraine directly, I think, and to make it also interactive for the visitors is working very well. So I really enjoyed this. Just wanted to tell you that.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks. If there are no other comments, we can go on. And then we have Antigoni Papantoni.
Hi, hello. Thank you, everyone. Let me find the right window. All right. Hello, yes, my name is Antigoni Papantoni. I'm an artist from Greece. I live between Greece, Switzerland, and other places. I work with personal archive imagery, text, and participatory methodologies. I joined the Curation Masterclass wanting to better understand how archive-based photography could move beyond a photo book, become a spatial, collective, and experiential form. Over the last 8 months, I focused on how images can function as environments to move through and forms of encounter. During this masterclass, I developed 3 directions of work. The first one is an installation based on my long-term project, You Can Go Home Again. The work existed already as a photo book. It originates from 15 years of image making, moving between cultures, countries, languages, and different understandings of home. The work deals with belonging as something unstable and continuously negotiated. The photo book is comprised of small moments, relationships, temporary places, and spaces of transformation in the structure of 4 chapters of culture shock. So during the masterclass, the project was invited for a group exhibition in Athens, and that was the opportunity to rethink on the work in a spatial way. And so the installation was conceived like a temporary home. The small prints function like postcards from this nomadic decade. Rather than constructing a fixed narrative, the work became an open field of memories.
Antigoni, sorry a moment, sorry, but are you changing slide?
Yes.
Because we still see the first.
Oh.
Sorry, because we tested before, but now
Yeah,
I
I
see.
know.
Okay. Try full screen again.
All right. My screen sharing is paused, it says, although we tested it before. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Because I see now the installation view.
Yeah, but
But I
now
think if you...
does it change now?
No. Stop sharing again, please. Otherwise, stop sharing and share the screen, the desktop, sorry, instead of... Let's see if we can solve in this way. Okay,
All
now
right.
it's working. Yeah.
I'm sorry for this. All right. So yes, at the center of the installation, the image of the tattoo marks the moment of self-recognition as a place to return to, and the mirror activates the viewer physically into the work. So home is not a geographical idea, but is more connected to the process of inhabiting oneself. Then the second long-term project I worked on during the masterclass is called Keros. This also derives from the archive, from my personal archive, and it already existed as a dummy photo book. And then during the masterclass, I had the chance to exhibit this in a spatial form installation, which I would like it to inform finally the photo book again. So basically, the project began 3 years ago when a repressed memory from childhood resurfaced unexpectedly, and that made me question how photography and memory function if we take pictures to remember or also to forget. In the dummy, I also worked with text. So basically, the text are bringing in elements that kind of are outside of the frame. So yes, I had the chance to exhibit this work in Photo Festival Lensbook 10 days ago, and in collaboration with curator Greg Tiani, we approached the installation as a field of images to physically navigate rather than to observe. We were interested in recreating the logic of processing memory itself, searching, pausing, returning, trying to connect the fragments. The text enters the space not as interruptions, they are not explanations, they are moments where language can carry more than the images. So I became less interested here in individual images and more in the relationships between images and the space. And visitors had to engage by, first of all, stepping on the work. So basically, what I keep also from these experiences is the fact that I would like to reuse these prints, as damaged as there might be, because the prints, actually the work became a material transformation. The prints are stepped on, they are displaced, they are layered, then they are rearranged, and then that could be part of the archive and enter the photo book format as well. So basically, the masterclass can help me to approach curation not only as a final stage of displaying work, but as an active methodology that can be transforming the work actually itself. And now the last and third direction of my work is shifting from personal archive to collective and participatory forms of image making. I currently worked on the island of Anafi as part of a curatorial initiative co-developed with the local community. I led a photography workshop this winter there, focusing on food production, the autonomy, the oral history, and the culinary tradition of the island. And now, as an ending of this workshop, I'm curating a final exhibition that will take place in this traditional Cafe Neo from images of the local community themselves. So this work approaches food as a carrier of memory, and images and testimonies that move from hand to hand. The opening is next week. And as a part of this project, I also began a project of portraiture, more classic portraiture of the inhabitants of the island in medium format film photography. And for this exhibition next week, I will only show one of these women who is a quite legendary character, a carrier of knowledge and memory, producing and cooking food for decades in her taverna. And although she cares so much about the natural environment, she doesn't have the same appreciation for the architectural heritage of the island. So I decided to show her portrait on this abandoned building, which actually belongs to her. and is in the middle of the Byzantine, supposedly preserved village. However, this is an illegal construction. So basically, I would like to reflect this way in the tension between the continuity of tradition and the contemporary transformation. Thank you very much. This is how my work developed, thanks to Erik and all of you. And actually, I'm open for opportunities for photo book publication of Keros and any other experimental curation of my archive. More than welcome. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Antigoni. It was like a really nice journey with you, also because you have so much going on, you have so much energy, and you are still already doing so many things. So I hope you don't lose that. And but sometimes it's nice to pause also, and because you continuously do exhibitions, but it's it's really nice to see your endless energy and yeah, very, very good also the development you made in the past month. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. It's thanks to you.
Thank you, Antigoni. I wanted just to know from your side, I was going through all of this for 8 months because, I mean, in a more practical way, since you are presenting 3 different projects in 3 different shapes. So I was for you this opportunity to work with the group as well and to receive feedbacks on different projects as well. So I wanted to know more about this kind of approach during the masterclass.
Yeah, for me, that was really a blessing, and it was the perfect time. It was Keros, as the name of the project, to be in this masterclass this year, because this is the year where I have all these projects going on and all these exhibitions. It's new for me too. So basically, it was the perfect timing to be able to share, reflect, have feedback. Sometimes reject the feedback, not because it wasn't accurate, because maybe I was not ready to take it. So, you know, all of this process was super valuable this year for me. I hope it wasn't too confusing, me coming with something else every time. But somehow, especially now preparing for this end year presentation, I kind of understood what links everything together, which is, I'm so happy that it's Erik leading this masterclass because of his approach to curation as a living thing and not an end result. So this curating and then going back into the archive, I think this finally kind of set me free in not feeling afraid of all my images, but seeing this as a continuous methodology. And I do need to pause. I'm looking forward to this summer.
Thank you very much. Yeah, indeed, all your projects in the end are well connected, and I really look forward to seeing what is gonna be the next step before the summer, after the summer at this point. So thank you very much, Antigoni. Now we have Linzi Bugeja. Linzi?
Hi, everybody. Oh dear. Okay, hi. So my name is Linzi Bugeja, and I am a photo-based artist living in Japan, and I'm originally from Toronto, Canada. And as of next week, I will be living in Seoul, South Korea. I would like to start by reading a text that is kind of the philosophical framework for this work. What do we see and what do we know? What do we say and what do we understand? There's always a gap, always a space where we don't know what we don't know. Will that gap ever be knowable? I try to explore it, to find the edges, fingers running along to see where I can feel a space, grasping at any threads to pull. Whether it is through performed femininity, what we've all been prescribed to do to get what we want later in life, or what we're told we want: the house, the kids, the husband, the community, the lover. Why do we want these things? Why do we want the new car? Why do we want that big diamond? Why do we want the pretty bag? Does it all just boil down to a sense of belonging, or is there something more? Yes, we're influenced by media. Yes, we're shaped by society, but why? We're seen and perceived, and just as eyes are looking towards us, our own point out of our heads to take in the world around us, we turn inward and outward, twisting ourselves to being what exactly? My mind flows back and forth between these thoughts, scaling up and down between desire and need. And it always comes back to the gap, the space between what's known and what's knowable. When I began this project, it was at a time when I was returning to art in a serious way after a very long gap spent as an early years teacher. And I had noticed that as I was returning to art, there was also a sort of return to an aesthetic and ideologies that sort of existed and were prevalent at a time that I was making art as a full-time situation, a time that could be called my prime, I suppose. And as I was looking back at it from an aging body trying to start over, I started with images of beautiful young friends, portraits of young women, but they weren't landing the way that I had intended. And I had bureaucratic portraits of myself that had been sitting on my desk for maybe years, and I defaced it. From there, I began to do interventions with portraits that I had taken, as well as any other detritus from the bureaucracy of living outside of my home country. During this time, I was also reading a lot of works about visibility, aging, and what happens to women's bodies in public spaces. The images that I've been making are small, postcard size or smaller, something easily manipulated by hand. They're precious and quiet and intimate somehow, but for the proposed presentation, scale is very important as part of the message. I want them to be large, mural-sized, confrontational in a sense. And as someone who's usually seen as timid and quiet, and sometimes even aloof, my thoughts are actually very loud. So I want that to be apparent in the viewing of the work. The project is ongoing and will continue once I'm settled in Seoul. And as of right now, I'm looking for a home to be presented in. Thank you for everything.
Yeah, thank you, Linzi. Very nice. I mean, over the course of the last 8 months, I mean, in your work in the beginning, you often struggled also with the insecurity about yourself, about your work, but what is in a way the nicest thing that happened, that this insecurity, that you took that as a method, and that also made you, that made this work, you know, because the work is still, it shows the insecurity, and you are able to talk about it, so it became a way of working also, and that is very nice. I think that's a big compliment, I think, for your work. Really nice.
Thank you.
I think it's nice also to see how you show this insecurity, but at the same time you are working with insecurity itself by cutting and moving these pieces of the images themselves. So yeah, I was for you, Linzi, to work in this concrete way for your work in this more practical, with this more practical approach. So yeah, I just wanted, yeah, I don't know if you want to add something, Linzi.
Just thank you to everyone here. And it's been a really important journey for me so far.
Yeah, because
Thank you very
sometimes
much.
so it is sometimes also, in your case, in your case, you also saw that you crossed really a barrier, and really dared to make a big jump, also in your work, and that is very good. So, yeah, this is a good basis to continue, and the expectations are the ones that you make yourself. You can show this. Yeah, thanks.
I just want to say hi. Sorry for being late, and I'll be following the presentation from now on. So, hi to the class. Hi, Erik.
Classically late again, eh?
Like always. Sorry
The
about
classic.
that. Yeah, but there is Rosa, my guardian.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Okay, so let's go ahead. Now we have Aless Alonso.
Hello, everyone. Share my screen. All good on your end, Rosa?
Yeah,
Yes.
try to change slide.
Wonderful. Okay. All right. Hello, my name is Aless Alonso. I'm a Filipino visual artist and filmmaker based in Mexico. I came to the country as a tourist for the first time in 2019. Mexico being halfway across the world from the Philippines, the first sensations all felt very familiar, as if I had been here before. Some centuries ago, Filipinos were actually the first Asians documented to set foot and settle in the Americas, specifically as a direct result of Spanish colonization of the Philippines and Mexico. This established almost 3 centuries of trade between the two countries. It is considered one of the first acts of globalization in human history, and yet it remains one of the least discussed chapters in world history. I feel most Filipino living in Mexico, the country farthest from home of anywhere I have lived. It is in the markets, in the cold marble of the church, in a rosary hanging from a taxi's rearview mirror that I am transported back to the Philippines. My body knows this place before my mind understands why. I wanted to look into those feelings of familiarity. Our histories are tied together through colonization and further through the Manila galleon trade. It was only living in Mexico that I felt it. I'm a product of that trade. There is a folk song in the Philippines called Bahay Kubo. It is one of the first songs we learn as children, a celebration of home, of simplicity, of growing your own food. It describes a small hut surrounded by vegetables. Not one of those vegetables is native to the Philippines. They all came from somewhere else. And yet nobody questions them as Filipino. They simply are. This is my attempt to trace the movement of that trade in the ingredients, in the history, and in myself. In the last 2 years or so, I had been working on a microscopy and digital photography with a Mexican physicist, Dr. Miguel Kitseri. This led to the conceptualization and production of my project, Where I've Been. So this is what I look for under the microscope, whether that product or that ingredient is from Mexico or the Philippines. At the most fundamental level, it is the same. What arrived from somewhere else became our identity completely and without remainder. The ingredients left, arrived, became something new without losing what they were. I am not so different. Where I've Been examines foods and ingredients that traveled across the Pacific through the Manila galleon trade, also known as Nao de China, from 1565 to 1815. The trans-Pacific route that connected Manila and Acapulco for over 250 years. The galleon initially sailed from the port of Cebu, the island where I was born, on its first successful return voyage to Acapulco. Through microscopy, these foods and ingredients are examined not at the surface, but from within, revealing a sameness that exists beneath all difference, and suggesting that what connects two cultures often runs deeper than what is seen. These side-by-side photos are of the same fruit or ingredient, separately taken in the Philippines and in Mexico. The project also reflects on transculturation as a way of understanding how cultures in contact do not simply exchange, but lose, adapt, and create something entirely new. This is visible in what crossed the Pacific, in the goods that were traded, and in language itself. Words that traveled from Mexico and the Philippines became part of everyday Filipino life. What you see here is actually a microscopic photo of my skin, a someone or something that has also crossed the Pacific. One coordinate is my home address in Cebu, and the other is in Mexico City. Through this program, with Erik, we conceptualized an idea for a book, one that I hadn't really thought about initially for this project. We conceived this book as a catalog of exchange and movement. So the cover is printed on piñapel. It's a portmanteau for piña, pineapple, and papel, paper. This is Filipino paper made from pineapple leaf fibers. The pineapple itself traveled the galleon trade, and the cover material is part of the story. A blind emboss of the Pacific route runs across the surface. There's no color, no photograph, where I've been on the front. The title page scatters its keywords on a thread: arrival, movement, between, becoming, return. And here's a book text, and allow me to read the only bit of text from this book. Carrying memory across distance, not having to be less in either place. Roots that hold no matter how far you are from the source, because it can be here or on the other side. Where does one world end and another begin? Did you depart or did you arrive? Inside, the two paper stalks create two modes of reading. The surface is clean without being cold. These images appear painterly, almost like watercolor. And a light vellum overlay appears only on full bleed images, which then reveals itself in full color. The spread layout alternates between photographs with generous white space and images that bleed to the edge. The rhythm between the two creates movement throughout the book. So here you see the label, common name, scientific name, and coordinates live beneath the image. One image sits at a Mexican coordinate, the other at a Filipino one. The location is never stated, only implied. And the shared language of the two cultures is present throughout, Spanish and Filipino for the same thing, carried side by side across the page, as they once crossed the Pacific. Where I've been is conceived as a cartography of exchange. This imagined exhibition is set up in Curimansuto at an art gallery in Mexico City. The space becomes like the Pacific Ocean. The two long walls of the gallery hold the two shores. On each wall, a large-scale microscopic photograph of my own skin stretches from end to end, floor to ceiling. The same body, the same texture, photographed in two places on two sides in the Pacific. So what crossed the seas did not simply travel. It transformed, it took root, and became part of everyday life in both places. So completely that its origins are no longer questioned. And they are more than they are often told through conquest. Here, it is approached through connection, visible in the foods and ingredients that shaped both cuisines and in words that became part of the Filipino tongue. To look closely at these microscopic images is to understand what connected these two worlds and to find beneath all difference a sameness that was always there. To move through this space is to move along the route. There is no fixed departure and no fixed arrival. Some things are in transit, some are arriving, some returning. This exhibition invites the viewer to make the same crossing. So grounded in my lived experience between the two places, the project maps both personal and historical trajectories across the Pacific. It approaches identity as something continually shaped through displacement, connection, and return. So where I've been belongs not to a single origin, but to everywhere along the route. I'm quite happy to share the development of this project with my cohort, and thank you to PhMuseum for selecting us. It has been a wonderful 8 months. I started this project imagining like the production with the microscope, but never having thought of getting closer to the end. And yeah, I celebrate this with you all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Aiess. I mean, in your case, you made really a big development also from the passion you had for microscopic photographs, which you accidentally made once, Then I think it's really nice now to see that your passion, that you actually transformed it into a very personal project, where you come from, where you belong, where you go, you know, like, and this comes all together in this one work, and it's, yeah, I think nobody else can make that, only you, because you have this experience from the Philippines and living in Mexico and merging this, and it's actually a very personal portrait with images that are not conventionally portraits, but you make like one big portrait of yourself in a way, and that is very beautiful. Yeah, really, thank you.
Thank you.
I really loved to see how the book itself is part of this crossing, of this journey, and also how you bring visitors inside the exhibition to cross the two sides as well. Maybe because it's also a topic that is very, I mean, this crossing moment is also a topic that is very close to me. So yeah, I very much enjoyed, and I agree with Erik that you did huge steps as well since the beginning of the masterclass. And I'm enjoying to seeing the results. So well done, yes.
Thank you. Yeah, the idea of the crossing is part of the dream, right? We dream of a borderless world.
It's also very nice to see how you kind of came up with a certain idea, and then the experience for the viewer is consistent, but also very different if you take the book or the exhibition. And I think that's that confirmed that it's like a very nice way of like putting together the project.
Thank you.
Cool. Let's go on. And now we have Anne Lim.
Hello, hi everyone. Yeah, would like to check if it's good. Can see my screen.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Anne Lim, and I'm a photographer and visual artist based in Singapore. And my practice often revolves around memory displacement and man's effects on nature. And for the CURAE project, I focused on a body of work titled Echoes of a Solstice. And this is an ongoing photographic project that undertakes a biannual repeat photography across 8 sites along Singapore's southern coastline. And the images are captured specifically during June and December solstices, creating a durational typology anchored to cyclical time. And what interested me about this was the idea that photography can operate almost as a form of environmental witnessing by returning to the same locations repeatedly and maintaining a relatively fixed vantage points and photographing under similar conditions. Small shifts kind of begin to accumulate. And these changes may initially appear subtle. Erosion, construction are changes in human activity. But over time, they also kind of begin to reveal broader environmental transformations that would otherwise kind of remain a little difficult to perceive sometimes. And many of these selected sites also coincide with low-lying coastal zones, often discussed within Singapore's long-term climate adaptation strategies, including areas associated with the Urban Redevelopment Authority's proposed Long Island plan across along the East Coast Park. And because of this, the work also exists at this intersection between photographic methodology, environmental change, and also perhaps state-led infrastructural planning. And conceptually, the project engages with themes such as slow violence and erosion of memory, as well as land and coastlines, shaped simultaneously by ecological crisis and by human desire and perhaps also intervention. I became interested not only in the rising sea levels themselves, but also observing what people continue to do at the sea despite these looming futures. And there's something quite deeply human about this coexistence between environmental precarity and also ordinary everyday life by the sea. And as the project developed, I began thinking more carefully about form and sequencing. And I wanted the images to function not only individually, but also kind of collectively through repetition and rhythm. And this led me to experiment with publication mockups and different forms of structuring the work into kind of like chapters where it could be representative of years or specific locations. And after feedback from Erik, I also began developing the publication loosely, a bit more inspired by like captain's logs and maritime archives. And I was interested in the visual language of navigation, record keeping, and also accumulated observation over long durations of time. And the publication also therefore becomes as like a container for images, but also an extension of the process itself. Importantly, the project is intended to continue over the course of perhaps hopefully 10 years. So in many ways, the publication remains unfinished in a way by design. And I hope for it to kind of become this living archive that gradually expands through repetition and return. And this idea also influenced how I began thinking about the exhibition design. I became interested in the possibility of creating an installation that physically embodies a cyclical time with a cylindrical structure in the center. And one proposal involved a circular architectural structure, echoing ideas of recurrence. And around the surrounding walls, images would be aligned according to a consistent like horizon line, reinforcing the typological structure of the project, while also creating visual rhythm throughout the exhibition space. And I was also interested in the possibility of fold-out sheets, probably from the publication itself, being able to be taken out and perhaps also function kind of like calendars or navigational charts where viewers can unfold or handle or be pinned up within the exhibition space. So this is where I am at the moment with the project, but I do hope to develop both forms, the publication and the exhibition, into a project presentation in January next year. And as I still had time, I also wanted to share that adjacent to this process, it encouraged me to think also beyond image making alone. It pushed me to consider how projects evolve through sequencing, curation, display, publication, and also reinterpretation. And this also began influencing how I approached my other projects. So, for example, another work titled Rays of the Sun Hiding in the Rays of the Moon, which emerged from a travel residency in Chiang Mai late 2025. And this work is also currently part of an ongoing exhibition at the NTU Art Design Media Gallery in Singapore until the 29th of May. So this is an example of the exhibition presentation. And the program with Erik also encouraged me to reconsider past works through new curatorial approaches. An earlier project that I had, White Noise, which explores fumigation clouds within Singapore's urban landscape. I kind of revisit the work through conversations around sequencing and reinterpretation. And this also eventually contributed to the development of a second edition of the photo book, which will soon be published by the book show and designed by Temporary Press as well. So although I did initially enter CURAE focusing on one single project, the experience gradually expanded into very many different aspects of my practice, from exhibition to publication design, also perhaps thinking more critically as well about time itself. And yeah, I'm really grateful to Erik and also PhMuseum and Rosa as well as my peers within this program, for the generosity of creative exchange throughout this journey. And that's the end of my presentation. And thank you very much for listening, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Kathy Ann. I think one of the, your idea of this work you're doing, I mean, it's a long-term project which involves enormous amount of time and patience, and I think one of the biggest, I mean, that's quite rare because some photographers, they lose also the patience but I think one of the biggest qualities of you is that you, in the end, keep the overview of this whole project, and you push it also to, you are not limiting yourself. You think quite big. In the past month, you have done an exhibition, you have done a book mock-up, you have printed the book. So it's very. This is, of course, very important. That. Okay, on one hand, you are a good photographer, but then on the other hand, you should also be a very good promoter and producer and organizer of your own work. And that is something that, in your case, merges very well together, and that goes very well. I mean, because you can make this work, but yeah, you are also managing it, that it goes out there, that it will be shown, that it will be, and that is, beautiful to see.
Thank you very much, Erik. Yeah, I think for me as well, I think I mentioned it in the classes as well. Like, I was very also happy just like shooting, and it's also a very personal and individual process. But I think also through this program, and especially with all of the discussions that I'm having with everyone, it also kind of led me to have more discussions with other works outside in other capacity as well. And I think that also kind of led to sort of snowball for other things as well. So yeah, I'm very grateful to that. For everyone.
Thank you, Katian. It was very nice to see how productive you were during the masterclass, and how you can declinate also the project into different in different ways, like the book, the exhibition. I mean, the two types also of exhibition. So yeah, I mean, also for you, well done, because in also your case, you did an amazing job, and I really enjoyed also in your for you to see how you ended up with the work. So yeah, thank you for sharing it with us.
It's also, I think, a nice example of like how you can be both creative and organized, and maybe it depends a lot on where you are in your career, or what the new project you're working on is about. But I think both can coexist and need to be celebrated, and the more you kind of master and find your equilibrium, the easier and more fun the project will be. And communicating your work, as you did very well in this presentation, is part of that. So it's very important. So congrats.
Yeah, also how you made this book, like the dossier, and how that fits really to your practice also. And it's really nice to see how you can switch between these things, and how you realize it and dare to experiment with this. Enough
Thanks so much.
compliments? Enough compliments?
Invitation.
Did we give enough compliments, or?
Too many. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone, for this.
Cool. Okay, let's go in. Now we have Charalambos Artemis.
Hi, everyone. Hello, and thank you for joining. My name is Charalambos Artemis, and I am a Cypriot visual artist and photographer currently based in Geneva in Switzerland. And I would like to share with you today a project that had started off as work for a group exhibition currently on display at the Nicosia Municipal Art Center in Cyprus. And and has been developed further along with Erik and my peers during the course of this workshop. Let me just share my screen. So I am from Cyprus, and I grew up on a divided island between three languages and a dialect. The dialect I was often taught to keep at a distance, as it is considered inferior or less sophisticated than the official languages. So never fully inside or outside any of these. I myself, and I think I can speak for a lot of people on the island, can barely complete a string of sentences in any one language. I found photography the way one finds something universal, a language without borders. So the photographic original always felt very precious and sacred. It was the one true record. But this promise of singular truth and of clarity and control is the same logic that built colonial maps and measuring instruments, and it's the same logic that decides who fits and who doesn't. So Fractonomy, this project that we have developed, breaks this logic open. So tools that were built for colonial clarity, like photographs and maps and measuring instruments and scientific illustrations, they're made to hold something they were not designed for. What interests me now is not the singular truth, but what happens in the space between fragments and the way things speak across difference without collapsing into one voice. What you're seeing here is a transparency, obviously, in a slide viewer, and this photograph is part of a found sailing archive from the 70s. It's an archive that runs through most of the work you will see in the presentation, alongside other found objects and materials. This is a view from the current exhibition in Nicosia, and on the left in the display cabinet, you can see a piece that is made from hundreds of fragments that were cut from these same sailing archive. And they're piercing through a nautical chart of the Antillean island of Dominica, which is a place with like Cyprus, with a long history of colonialism. This nautical chart is full of depth measurements that have been obscured by all these fragments. This proposal showed the same fragments, but on a monumental scale. From far, they look quite abstract, but the closer you move, the more detail appears. However, they still refuse to resolve into a single image. This video I've made combines archive footage from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration in the US with the scientists' voices during these deep sea exploration dives. They're measuring depth, calibrating color, making images legible. So it's the same kind of colonial impulse, but a different archive.
We are diving on an unnamed seamount. It has high definition cameras on it.
Here, measuring instruments are attempting to quantify fragments from this archive. It's quite an absurd kind of gesture to try to measure these items, and it turns the attention to the measuring instruments themselves and the impulse to clarify and measure everything. This is the Cicerou parrot. It's endemic only to Dominica, the island of which you saw the map earlier. And today it's critically endangered. This is a 19th century illustration for a British zoologist. And today this elusive bird is primarily exists through the names and images the empire gave it, which is the imperial Amazon. Here pierced with pins that allude to mapping pins and are threaded with fragments from the same sailing archive. And the same work proposed to be juxtaposed against another instrument of measurement, and that of color, which was also taken from these deep sea dives, and tells us what color should look like and what things how things should appear to us. So this proposal brings together the fragments, the maps, and the objects, an archipelago of elements in relation. No resolution, no restoration. So the maps are placed these maps are from the Antillean Islands, the Lower Antilles, and they're placed in this archipelagic kind of setting with all these elements in a relational kind of arrangement. And in the background, a picture of a sailor resting, obscured by the video of Cicerou parrot in captivity being hand-reared by a conservationist. So going back to finish off, going back to my initial kind of introduction, I did say I grew up between 3 languages and a dialect, and then photography became a 4th language. I thought it was universal, transparent, and complete, but this work refuses that completion. It resists being reduced to a single truth, a single measurement, and a voice. That refusal, that incompleteness is not a failure. It's the only framework I know how to operate in, and maybe it's the most honest one. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Charalambos.
Thank you.
Very, I mean, in your case, yeah, the work you make is kind of, I think to many of us, very surprising, because you have a very specific fascination, and the work you make is something, yeah, at least I've never seen before. But that was not like the main thing in, I mean, for you, the biggest achievement, I think others will agree that, I mean, how you now talk about your work and communicate your work, that is really something that you learned to do in a very good way. You know, like, because these two things, they go together, you know, like you have very specific work, very explicit in a certain way, and in the way you presented it now, and it is very clear. You know, in the beginning of the workshop, this was totally unclear, and because you used 10 times more words, and the good thing is when these two things go together, you do yourself like a big pleasure, because now your presentation, how your work is perceived, how you talk about your work is really spot on. And this is, yeah, you're an example also that, I mean, in many cases in the workshops and in this masterclass, I mean, I think the only one that could help yourself with your work is yourself. I mean, we could not manipulate that, but yeah, you learned a lot in how to communicate yourself and your work, and that is a big thing, because it was a big problem, and it's perfect, really, it's perfect.
I have to thank you for your unfiltered contribution of the comments to the work, because you know, sometimes some of us have to be shaken out of some sort of you know, bad habit or something we're doing wrong. So and with all the feedback from everybody on the course, it's yeah, I think I've managed to understand that the work called for opacity and not for explanation over explaining, and yeah.
Exactly, it's perfect now.
Yeah, thank
Great.
you.
I mean, you will have like yeah, your work is very good. You know, it gives me goosebumps. Really, I've never seen something like this. And when you have a specific topic, you go very deep in that. You make works that are totally surprising, and that's all where it's all about. But on top of that, you are now very good in how to show it, how to talk about it. That's perfect. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time to see this. Thank you.
But did the work like add this kind of materiality since the beginning, or at some point you felt like the need of, you know, like thinking of the work in physical terms first?
Right.
The work already did this physical. It was unaware it was about, you know, like.
It was lacking what I think the personal angle to it. And then with Erik, we kind of, you know, he was prompting me again and again to see where it's coming from and why are you working in this fragmented sort of way. And then I really looked deep to find out, and it was a bit like you know, psychology kind of exercise. Went back to my childhood, so you know what I went through, let's say, as a child after the war, division, everything was fragmented. The languages, my, you know, as identities in Cyprus is very, very fragmented indeed, because we have so much influences over the centuries, from the food to the language. Everything is just a melting pot. So you know, it came from that, obviously.
I think it's very important, very cool, like these days especially, you know, because many projects are branded or, you know, like as personal project, but then sometimes they have the the grammar of traditional photojournalism that had completely another purpose, that of being published on a newspaper. And so we as a generation probably have to really do this effort to, you know, like brand the story as personal. Okay, let's go in deep, and sometimes, you know, like you think the work talks about something, and by doing this exercise, and Erik is a master in helping you through this process, you understand that the project is completely about something else. So congrats for
thank you very much
to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charalambos. Well, Erik and Giuseppe already said everything. So, yeah, I just can say well done also to you. And it was a huge work that you did on the whole concept and all the work. So, yeah, I'm also proud of you as well.
Thank
so,
you.
well done.
Thank you, Rosa. Thank you for your support and all this time. Thank you. It's been amazing.
Thanks. So, yeah, now we have Elisa Garosi.
Hi. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Elisa Garosi, and I'm an artist working with photography and multimedia languages. I've been selected for CURAE, this online masterclass, with my project Inner Shoes. Okay. In Her Shoes is a project that explores the relationship between women and clothing, objects that envelop their bodies through all the stages of life, allowing and supporting every transformation. When I began this research 4 years ago, I was interested in exploring how an everyday object could be the result of so many stories. And this is because, metaphorically speaking, textile is memory of our identity. It consists of two fundamental aspects. The first one, material, which is the result of antique traditions and techniques. I'm from Italy, so you can imagine there are lots of stories around that. And there is a second aspect, a cultural, social, and symbolic aspect. So the first step for this project was archival research, and I decided to draw inspiration from the methods used in textile sustainability, which means that when I found forgotten images and forgotten stories, I decided to bring them back to light by creating new narratives and incorporating them into new life cycles. This was a big opportunity for me to reflect on today's overproduction of images as well as clothing and how we can create new narratives starting from what we already have. This image is the result and the first idea I had of how I envisioned working with these images. And it was possible to achieve this result during this online masterclass. Furthermore, this spring, I was asked by a gallery called Alveare Culturale Studio to create the first exhibition related to this project. So on the right, this was the invitation we created together. And when I started working on the installation, I wanted the artworks to actively engage with the exhibition space, attracting the public to explore history, memory, and visual heritage. On the left, there is the map we created, and it recalls the concept of life cycle, but also women's cycle, allowing a circular and also a free flow. For my first exhibition, I decided to work with two mediums. The first one was textile printing, which allowed me to play with the senses, because the transparency, the lightness of the fabric, the illusion of a living object that moves slightly as visitors pass by. And the second medium was these sustainable light boxes, clearly inspired by old times when photographs were seen as backlit slides, conveying an antique and precious atmosphere of that time. They are sustainable because by building them coherently with my project, I can change the image on display in front, so it is possible to use them for other exhibitions. These are some photos of the opening. So you can see the public, the visitors interacting with the artworks and talking about these stories. And today I'm very happy to share the progresses of my project, because this morning I received the communication that I was selected within Her Shoes for Inside Photo Festival that will be in October in Varese. And this is actually what I really desired, the opportunity for my project to grow and to include more chapters. So for this reason, during this online masterclass, I was creating several installation prototypes for other exhibition opportunities, and here are some. My project has also caught the attention of Studio Boîte, which is a publishing house specializing in artists' books, and we are currently working on creating one in which I will literally work with chapters, introducing themes related to specific stages of life, so childhood, adulthood, and seniority. It would be another chapter of this fantastic adventure. And what I'm very happy to say is thank you for this amazing opportunity to work with you, with PhMuseum, and with the class. And it was a pleasure for me to introduce you to my research, Inner Shoes, and I hope it has captured your interest and curiosity.
Thank you. Very nice. Yeah, it was also nice to see in your development how you slowly, kind of halfway the course, really started to believe in this, and also that you saw that as an artist or a photographer and a curator in one, how you could realize these works apart from the person that researched it. You made installations, you proposed installations, and what is anyway very surprising in this edition of the course anyway, that several people already realized parts of this work, and you also had a few weeks ago this opening, and I think this topic, you focused on this, you went deeper in it, and now you see also what comes from there, and that's a really nice development, I think. Chapeau. It's nice.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Yeah, it's great to see how all these projects are getting a result in a concrete way, in a practical way. So also in your case, it's amazing to see how you could shape the work in the years who are now. Also, I mean, let us know when it's gonna be published, when the release period. So yeah, good to hear that.
Thank you so much. I don't have these details yet, but we are working on that, and I will let you know.
Don't forget to send us a copy. Joking apart, I want to underline how, you take risk, which is a good thing, sometimes, I mean, calculated risk or less calculated risk, but there is some sort of bravery, I think, or freedom, in what you've shown us today. And I think it's another thing that our generation now should kind of embrace to advance. And now that the projects are personal, and we really care for the concept, for things to be tied, for the material, to make sense with the concept of the work. The risk, the fruit, the result makes sense, that you feel, and so I don't know. I just wanted to highlight this aspect and say congrats.
Thank you so much, Giuseppe. I think that for me it was really important to be in the front line for my project, because who else gonna do that for you, no? And on the other side, it was really important for me to attend this online masterclass, because there was the class supporting Rosa, you and Erik supporting during this process, and also the team of Alveare Culturale Studio, which made possible my first exhibition. So I loved this year. It's been wonderful. Thank you so much to everybody.
Brava.
Thank you again, Elisa. Let's move forward. Now we have Louise Damgaard.
Yeah. Hi. Yeah, let me just find my screen. So we tested this morning. I'm sorry. but
No worries.
okay, I don't know why it looks different now.
What happens when you go to share?
It says a whiteboard on my iPhone. I think maybe that I should log in the other way. Okay. It doesn't really show me my option here.
That's weird.
Yeah.
So when you do share, you cannot choose the window.
No.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Remind me, what do you have? The PDF?
No, I have the PowerPoint. I have both things that I tested.
You want to try to get out of one moment and then get in again?
Maybe I can do that after. Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry for this.
Let's wait a moment then.
I think maybe if Dumi wants to go on, I want to get it ready for you. So you don't. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry about this. I did work before, so I don't.
No worries, no worries.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I'll come back into. Yeah.
Cool. Nice. Let's wait a moment for Louise to come back. Then I will say Dumi and Maxim also get ready for your turn. Bravo, Maxim.
Yeah, otherwise, let's go to Dumi then.
Oh, wait a moment. Louise is back. Let's make another try, and then otherwise we swap. Louise? Yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead maybe. Dumi, are you ready? And then we can go ahead with Louise later.
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
So, hi everyone. My name is Dumitrita Razlog. I'm a painter at the base, but I'm also working with a lot of techniques. One of them is photography. And for this masterclass, my team, started with actually with an exercise I got from Erik. And it was to write an artist statement as if I was 10 years older. And at the beginning, I thought it's a light exercise. I did lots of artist statement before because I'm being in this domain for 8 years. But after that, I took a moment to think about my life, and I had a couple of months where I thought maybe I should give up art because I was in a tough period. And I started to work on this project with a thermal camera that you are seeing here. And you usually also can see it in hands of kids because it prints instantly the photos that you are make, but they are also ephemeral because the prints fading out in time. And also I was working with my journal, so I got very personal in this project. And I would like first to show you a video and that has pieces of my journal with some photos, so that you can have a vibe of the project.
The negative voice in my head comes from the fact that I haven't had any moment to pause and feel gratitude, to spend time with myself and feel good. And I think it's time to calm down this panic about money, because I do have some, and more will come. The tickets to Milan aren't expensive, and when I'm there I hardly spend money. I paint, and that's important. Last night was nice at the closing event. The studio looked good, and I didn't stress anymore. I let people do what they wanted without trying to be extra nice. Little by little, I need to give myself the chance and the satisfaction of being okay just as I am. I start to panic because I didn't finish all the works. I'd like to paint, but I'd also like to relax. Maybe one will bring the other. Yesterday I felt bad that I had wasted time, and then I felt bad about that feeling itself because I experienced it when I was actually fine and relaxed. I don't really know how to stay for too long without doing anything, nothing productive. Then I realized I need that in order to make space in my mind, a free space where ideas can come and I can create. Lately I've become fixated on the fact that whatever happens, I spend 200 euros a week on rent, and I'm worrying about money again. In solitude you are the most free and the most connected to yourself, but there needs to be a balance. Today I'm painting. It seems like I don't have anything else urgent to do. I'm turning 34 and I want stability and independence at this age. I don't want to keep thinking in bits and pieces anymore, and I don't want to be living la bella vita of smoking weed and wasting time. That works for a month in Sicily, not for a life. I need a more organized routine and less panic. Yesterday I watched A Beautiful Mind and I was overcome by deep crying. I cried because of the film, but really for myself, because I feel lonely. I know it's just me with myself, but it's hard to do all the things I want to do. Then I painted, which filled my heart with joy, and I'm going to do that today as well. Right now, I want to be with myself and paint, go for walks in the park, sleep, take my vitamins, cook, and slowly start doing some exercises.
So, since I've started this project, I moved to Milan, and now I'm living between Bucharest and Milan. I'm continuing to be an artist, and this is an installation I did in my studio in Bucharest. The idea of the project is working both with videos, with pieces of journal, and with this kind of photographies. I did them without thinking about it. So I walked everywhere with my thermal camera and I did a lot of pictures. These are some close-up from the installation. Well, the story of the pictures is that they are talking about all the things I let go to continue to be an artist, and mostly I let go of my friends in Bucharest, that I don't see them anymore that often. So these are more close up. One thing that I like about this medium is that it slowly fades away. So you can see different colors. This is another installation I did here in Milan. And I was working with the walls, try to change the perspective. I think that's all. But what I wanted also to say is that for me, this experience was very important because I spent a lot of time by myself, and talking with the others was also the reason why I did this project, because we are living in these days a difficult situation, and continuing to being an artist is difficult for everyone. So thank you for being vulnerable and sharing with me all your struggles. It was also part of, they are also part of my project. And I will have an exhibition with this project in September in Bucharest, and I also will do one here in Milan, because I want to have this dialogue also in a way where other people can access it, and also have a coherence with my life as a concept for the work. Okay, so.
Yeah, thank you, Dumi.
Thank you too.
I mean, in your case, you have made also quite a journey, not physically, but also mentally. Because yeah, maybe people, they don't see that now, but you are much more than only a photographer. You make gigantic paintings. But I think the best quality of you is really that you have the courage to completely reinvent yourself constantly. And this is something that not a lot of people dare to do. And you question your own thing constantly, and you try something else. And this is in a way also what an artist should do. And so please don't give that up. Huh? But I mean, I've seen your paintings also, and it's really, you have many qualities in that way. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Erik.
Lumi, I was thinking I'm wondering if you can also consider the idea to include the journey, your diary as well, and the paintings, maybe they can be connected to the work. I mean, if in the idea of a bigger exhibition, despite of what you are showing in your own studio. So yeah, I was thinking if you were considering this as well.
Yes, so in the exhibition there will be 3 mediums. One will be the video that you saw, so the people can also hear pieces from the journal. The other will be the installation of the photos and some pieces of paintings that I did during this period. And I'm also thinking about making, because journal was an important partner for me during this period. And I'm also thinking about making some small journals that people can bring home with pieces of my journal. So it always seems hard to start a journal, but maybe if somebody already started for you, it will be easier to continue, because I do believe in the power of writing your thoughts. And this will be the layers of, and of course, the written and the part will be present. Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you for asking.
Thank you for sharing it. Nice. Thanks again. Let's try again with Louise.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I think it works now.
Yeah.
Does
Make it full screen.
Is it full screen now?
Not yet.
Oh God, sorry. That's what it is. Yeah. It is full screen at mine, but I wonder why we tested this. Okay. What do you see then?
We see the
It is
layout with
I'm
everything.
sorry about this, but now I later logged into the link, and now it tells me that I can show. But this will be tested today with the play. For some reason.
Let's try to share the desktop.
I can maybe. I have another backup here. Do you see the PDF now in full screen?
Yeah, now it's working. Perfect.
Okay, good. So hello, my name is Louise Damgaard. I'm a photographer and a visual artist. I live in Copenhagen, Denmark, and on this course I have been working on this project named Where Do Dreams Go? I come from a background working with fashion photography, and after quite some years away from my practice, I wanted to come back to working with photography and working with photography in a more tactile and creative way. So I think I was searching to bring it somewhere new. I worked with collaging and had been doing that for a while, but not kind of, you know, in my practice. So that was my aim, to see how I could push that. And the theme about dreams has been something I've been working around many times before, but this time there was something more to be expressed. And you know, that's what the course really helped me to understand, you know, what it was about. So it had all of a sudden also this connection to myself that I realized within on the course and in my project. So I'll just write. I'll just read the text out that I wrote that describes a bit about, you know, what this title tries to talk about. So where do dreams go if they don't get your love? Do they disappear? What if you can't see anything, feel anything, or create anything? The lonely walk through somewhere, a place or a planet, those still only lives in your imagination. Does it exist? Can my dreams be real, or is this real right now a bad dream? Hope and fear fills me. One day it's one, and the next it's another. I feel invisible, but still strong. I feel alone, but not lonely. The contrasts are present, but I sometimes think if this is actually what was needed to create these thoughts and universes for me to understand it all. And the keywords that I came across within the, you know, the whole process was words that I could connect to different chapters in my artistic work. So it was search and dreams. There was a chaos and situation, a landscape that described the universe, storm and frustration, light, darkness, hope, a kind of split personality, uncertainty, upside down reality, nature, body, and power. And within these words, I was trying out in the beginning to work with collages, some of my previous work that I haven't used or published before. I had different ideas of how to maybe express it, but, you know, definitely within, you know, during the course and with the guidance from Erik, different visual chapters developed almost by themselves, I would say. It was very like organically. So yeah, I'll show the different chapters now. But it also began with the landscape, like, you know, a universe of dreaming as something that I had kind of always, you know, had in my also fashion photography. There was always like a location or a scenario. And this was the landscape pictures that kind of started this project that I had printed and that I worked on and with and as a collage and different things that I could express on top of them. So instead of shooting a narrative by one click in the camera, as I have worked as a method before, now I had a chance to express a narrative but different elements and different mediums connecting to each other. So the storm and trying to express different emotions and feeling came with paint on the pictures. Sometimes just trying to see where it took me, working with different paint and materials, and also different less carbon and different things that could connect to some organic. The search for something that kind of, walking towards a dream or walking towards somewhere has also been a thing I've been expressing before. And these were actually some of the collages that I came to the course with, that I had an idea of, that I could produce maybe more of to find a direction. But it needed the kind of, the core and the narrative. So I had, the elements and the characters that could represent the person in the story, but I was working a lot trying to create a feeling and emotion within my images in all different ways. It comes back to my love for photography that started out black and white, and that's what I kind of, felt comfortable going back to, and it was very natural for me to stay within that expression and these black and white and silverish colors. I played with different failures in my photography, so there was different things that came out wrong, or the photocopier would say something back to me, like there was some hope, there was some light, there was different things that I connected to, and also by a different method I could show the hope and the light and a connection of that together. So I've tried to just go by my intuition and try to experiment with the material and try to put words on it, but also let the material speak back to me. And then for the exhibition, it would need again some of the keywords to kind of put it together. So the chaos feeling, the kind of expression I like that to be loud and large. I like the tiptoeing figures to be printed on fabrics that could be lightly hanging. I like the chaos and the storm to be controlled, but still have the sketches and the rawness represented, for example, on the box. Here I played with again the different images representing different stages or sides of myself. And this one represents again a feeling that I would like to express, and the invisible figure placed in the middle of it all. Then I would love to do a booklet that also had the different chapters represented in this new way. So this is where the project ended this month with on the course. Thank you.
Thanks, very nice. Yeah, I mean, in your case, your work also completely changed in a way from, I mean, the beginning of the course, you were still looking a lot at the aesthetics of the work, and now that transformed completely into that there is emotion in the work, I think you really jumped into the deep, more than anyone almost. That you made a really, I mean, you really pushed it to the boundaries of what is still photography or what not. But in the end, it was only to express yourself, and you really moved from how you would make something to now to why you would make it. So that is very a good step. I mean, I love to see this also big, and I mean, this is online, but the physicality of the work and the tactility of it must be also very beautiful. So it was really you know, it's very good to see how, you know, the step you dare to take and to really confront yourself and totally surprise yourself and maybe shock yourself sometimes with what you made. And that is very, very good, I think. It's nice. I love it. Yeah, nice.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think I was like, I think we spoke about, you know, I was so comfortable and in control with the photography, whereas when I was added other mediums, I was more like, you know, doubting what is this I'm doing, or what will it be, or, you know, is this correct? And I think this correctness maybe got a bit, you know, deleted, which was good for me to work in that way.
I like to see how the different approach of your curatorial choices changed also the perception of the work itself in all the rendering that you shared. So yeah, I was thinking, I mean, I wanted just to highlight this and ask you if you feel more comfortable with one or a different approach among those that you showed us, because there is one that is more kind of punk underground, and then there is another one that is kind of like in a white cube, it is more elegant. And I was wondering with which kind of approach you feel more comfortable with talking about your project.
Yeah, I always like the DIY feeling to it. So I definitely the wallpaper and the more raw thing is something that I feel comfortable with. So I like it not to be too kind of, you know, perfect, or, you know, the way you have to have the right frames done as a photographer and the right things. But on the other hand, I think there was so much expression that I'd like to try to see what it would look like, you know, with like, you know, so many emotions and so much happening, and then try to make some of the rooms a bit more simple. So you go from one room to another just to try out, you know, so it wasn't so loud all the time. But yeah, the DIY is, I think that's what I feel most at home with.
Yeah, for you, it's now also really time to go out with this work, to show it to places. I mean, that's really a next step for you, because this with the body of work you made now in the last 8 months, you can really show that somewhere and present it.
Yeah, I would love to do that. I feel like, you know, it all connects in a way that I you know, so I can speak about it and understand it, you know, now working with it for a longer time. So yeah, I would love to do that.
Thank you, Louise. Now it's the turn of Maxim Zmeyev.
Did you see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Hi, my name is Maxim Zmeyev, and I will start with a short introduction to my practice. I'm an artist based in Marseille, and I work with the video games not only as entertainment or visual culture, but as a system that produce images, behaviors, and social models. My main method is in-game photography. I take and collect images inside the video game worlds, and then I move them outside the screen into print, sequence, objects, publication, and installation. For me, a virtual environment is not just the background. It's already create the rules. It decides how a body can look, how a player can move, what can become a memory, an event, a document, or a form of evidence. So I'm not only interested in the image of the picture, I'm interested in the image as a part of the system. The moment that interested me most is when the image stops being on the surface and starts to act like a rule. And today I want to speak about the project that started with my friend. His name is Prompto. He's an NPC, a non-playable character inside the video game Final Fantasy 15. Prompto travels with the player, but he is controlled by the game system. He makes his own small decision during the journey. At first, players did not really like him compared to other companions. He seemed almost useless. He had only a big pistol and did not help much in the battle. So one of the developers gave him a camera, and after that, Prompto became the photographer of the game. He takes picture automatically during the journey. The player cannot control what the photographer when he take a picture or how he frame it. Every evening in the game, Prompto show his images. The player can only choose which one to keep. I spent more than 250 hours in the game and collect more than 3,500 photographs by him. So the project began with the simple question, what happens when the photographer is not a fully human and the author is shared between a character, a game system, and the player? Now I had the Prompto archive. So the next question was simple. What should I do with it? I decided that if an algorithm produces the photograph, then other algorithms should continue working with them. First, I use an AI system for photographers. It selects around 300 images from the archive based on aesthetic ranking. Then I asked another AI to make a photo story from exactly 36 photographs, like one roll of 35mm film. At first, it tried to follow the official story of Final Fantasy video game, but I wanted it to work only with the visual material. After several interactions, it produced a linear photographic adventure from the 36 images. This became the first fixed form of the project, an archive made by Prompto, selected by AI, and sequenced through another machine. After 36 images sequence, I continued working with AI. I asked it to describe the adventure, to write a project text, and to create a functional biography of Prompto as a young photographer. Some texts were useful, some were wrong, some were too serious, and some were stupid in a good way. But I decided to keep all of this. The prompts, mistakes, reject version, fictional text, and AI conversation become part of the archive. So the archive is now only the final images. It also shows how the project was made. For me, this is important because the project is not about one author. It is about the delegate authorship. The game engine creates the situation, prompt to take the photographs, and I call it and redirect them. AI system select, sequence, describe, and fictionalize them. The work exists somewhere between all of this position. At the stage, the 36 images sequence also received a title. The road was the ruin, and the ruin was the road. It sounds like a little stupid and maybe too dramatic, but I like it. For me, it sounds like a mix of epic fantasy, bad poetry, and machine typing to understand the photography. Okay, so far the project may sound quite simple. There is a character who takes photographs. There is an archive. There is AI selection. There is 36 image sequence. It almost sounds like a project is finished, but during the CURAE course with Erik, I had to think about how this project could exist as an exhibition. Because the project comes from a virtual world, I decided that the display system should also come from that world. I wanted to give virtual photography a virtual materiality. So I started to use objects from the game as supports for the photographs. A car, a gas station, clothes, weapons, tools, food, pinball machine, souvenir, and body fragment become objects that hold the images. They are not random, they belong to the road and the ruins. The photograph is no longer only an image in the wall. It becomes a surface, a skin, a trace, or a stranger souvenir from a journey that never really happened. Okay, and in the end, I have 3 proposals for installation. The first one is image as the object. In this version, virtual objects become a real physical object in the exhibition space. They can have the different sizes and different position on the floor, on the wall, standing, leaning, or suspended. And the photographs are not showing as normal framed images. They become part of the object, surface, skins, prints, or traces. So the exhibition is not just a photograph on the wall, it's become a landscape of material remains from a virtual journey. The second one is image of the film. Here the image are printed on one long transparent strip. This, yeah. A printed is mounted on the wall and the strip comes out of it. The other end is helped by receiving reel. So the image is not a single photography anymore. It becomes a material in motion, stop it in the middle of the process. This form refers to raw film, negative, contact sheet, lab printing, and digital output, but it's not about the nostalgia. It's for analog photography. For me, it's show photography as a chain of translation, automatic version, digital archive, synthetic object, print, transparent film, and machine movement. The images do not sit on the white paper background. They cover inside the transparent strip, so the work becomes less about the fine photographs and more about photography as a process of transformation. And the next installation proposal is image as apparatus. The third, here's 17 all large format cameras are attended in the semicircle, but the cameras do not take photography anymore. Each camera already contained an image inside its body. The viewer cannot see it directly. To see the image, they have a look through the lens, so the camera becomes a closed viewing device. It does not capture the world, it's store and hide an image. The semicircle also refers to motion capture and photogrammetry, where cameras surround the body and turn it into a digital model. But here the logic is reversed. There's no body in the center. Instead, each camera already contains a fragment of the project. The viewers move from one camera to another, assemble the work through separate act of looking. Okay, like this. In the end, Prompt is not only a character with camera, he is a small figure of a large condition, a world where the images are made, chosen, and prepared before they reach us. And maybe photography today begins there, not where we take the picture, but when we discover who or what was already looking for us. Ta-da! That's it.
Yeah, nice. Thanks.
Sorry for this marathon, but...
No. Don't say sorry. I mean, you keep saying sorry constantly, but at one point you need to stop. Huh? No, I mean, I think this is very, I mean, the work you made it's also something never seen before. Like it's really, but this is also your fascination. You have made earlier work like this, and yeah, that has been quite a journey with this. But the way you finish it now and the proposals you make with it, and I mean the way you present it, yeah, it's. Also, the fact that you talk about the delegated authorship, it's something really, really nice. And how you, in the virtual world, something from the virtual world, make digital and use analog almost again, and physical. That is a really interesting clash, and that's. Yeah, I find it very exciting, this work, you know, you don't even know where it goes, you know, and that is also something interesting, you know, like that's maybe more interesting than when you completely know where something is going to, you know, like it's very nice.
But you think, sorry.
Sorry. I want to say big thanks to Erik, Rosa, and all of the team of PhMuseum and all of our group, because this is the wonderful journey. Really, this is super. I don't know. I have no words for this. I'm super happy to participate in this course. And the Rosa is wonderful. The Erik, he's a genius, and all our team or our group is a super wonderful people, really, with different vision, with different ideas. It's so excited. Yeah, really, it's super cool. Thank you.
Nice. Rosa, you want?
I wasn't sure if Giuseppe wanted to say something before.
No, I just wanted to ask, and that's a question also a bit for everybody, like how much do you think it's important to explain the process or to even incorporate the process in the final result against just like presenting the final result and then, you know, like it's up to the viewer to kind of, you know, get an impression first and then maybe deepen that probably through text.
Okay. My point of view, it depends the project, because my project, it's about delegated authorship and delegated vision. And this is the chain of AI. I need to explain this because it's not my photography. And what the hell is that? Yeah, that's why I'm talking more about the process, because the process inside this project and all the text, all the prompts, this is archive and this is to the project. Yes. That's why I'm talking about this so much. Sorry for this, but yeah, I think it's super important in this project.
Well, I wanted to say just thank you very much for your lovely words, Maxim. And I was curious to know, in your opinion, do you think AI will replace curators at some point?
I don't know. I think AI, it's like its instrument. It's like a hammer, you know. He can help, but for example, this object, it's created by me. I don't know. I'm just time to time use it a little bit for inspiration, a little bit for translation or something like this. But it's like a hammer. Yeah, you can do what you want with it, or you can do not use it. It's your choice.
Yeah, I must say also regarding this, I think this is the first edition of with the PhMuseum this last 8 months that you see that you know that there is enormous freedom with the installation views. Like I mean, it's a big difference. They are made by AI, but not the work is not made by AI. Of course, Maxim's work is, but like for instance, Louise's work is not made. It's like physically made. The only thing is that she uses AI to make installation views, to make And I think this is a huge step forward. Also, not so much that it technically is possible, but it is more also, yeah, I think in all of the cases, also with Elsa and with, I mean, people think bigger in a way, you know, like look at Maxim's rendering of the gene standing in this museum, you know. Of course, it's maybe not completely possible, but at least it's fantastic to see it like this. So that is really, that has been a big change also. And of course, I mean, it's in the end, it's a tool, especially to use it for, to curate and to make installation views. Yeah, I think it will only make exhibitions in the end more exciting, because the renderings and the ideas became bigger and more crazy, more absurdistic. And so in this case, in this course, I've seen that really as a development, that almost everyone used that and used it in the right way, you know, like not at the beginning, but at the very end, you know, when they had all the material, when they had everything. At the very, in the last 5 or 10% of the course, they produced these works with it while they were already knowing what they wanted to do. But AI and the renderings helped to visualize this. Yeah, and that's a big change with the previous years, because yeah, this has in many people's works has made a big push. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Also, because this tool make it being accessible to everyone. Because of course the rendering is, I mean, a rendering done with the softwares properly is very difficult. And yeah, I think this is an approach that can be accessible to everyone. And I totally agree with this. I mean, there was a huge step from everyone thanks to this tool as well. Cool. So I think we reached the end. And yeah, so thank you very much, everyone, for being with us. Of course, you are welcome to rewatch this live session, and also to go through all the projects again. As you see, most of them are waiting for opportunities, and you will see there are already books and concrete exhibitions there. So feel free also to contact every participant if you are interested in their work. And I also want to invite you next week with the last presentation from this cycle, which is going to be the one with the participants from Critiche, with the Laurel Tantawi and Elisa Merde, with the masterclass about documentary photography. And yeah, so thank you very much for being with us. I don't know if Giuseppe also wants to say anything.
I just want to say congrats again to everybody. It was really interesting, and I will catch up with the first two presentations I missed. I want to say thanks to Erik, because every year grows the program and, you know, helps new groups of practitioners. So thanks, Erik, for this consistency that is super nice. Thank you, Rosa, for all the coordination. And yeah, I mean, let's hope to meet in person at some point. We have the festival and the book fair happening 1, 2, 3, 4, and Erik is gonna be there with his books. So yeah, that's gonna be a nice occasion. So enjoy the summer, don't say sorry, and hopefully see you in Bologna in a few weeks, months.
Cool. Thanks again. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Rosa. Bye. Bye, Giuseppe. Erik. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
This was a wonderful journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.